Hi, this is Arn Cenedella, SPARK Multifamily Investing Group, reaching out to you today from Greenville, South Carolina. Today, I'd like to talk about the superpowers, the skill sets, the team members needed to put together an effective multifamily team. So, we've heard many times multifamily is a team sport. So, what are the roles that need to be filled? What are the skills that are needed to, um, create a strong multifamily team that's able to go out into the market, find good opportunities, analyze them, raise the capital, get the deal closed, and then most importantly, operate the property. So, I think all of us have kind of a unique skill set. There are things that we like to do, things that we're good at, and maybe there are other tasks that we don't enjoy or are not good at. So I think putting together the proper multifamily team starts with an honest self-reflection, self-assessment on your own strengths and weaknesses. And then my advice would be find partners that have complementary skill sets that are better at certain tasks, operations than you are. And by putting together the proper team, you're then going to have all the skill sets you need to uh, run a great multifamily syndication business. It's been said multifamily is a team sport. And and frankly, it is. And it's one of the reasons I moved to the multifamily space after decades in single family rental portfolio. So, my name is Arn Cenedella. Again, I'm with SPARK Investment Group in Greenville, South Carolina. So, let me kind of run through the four primary skill sets I think people need to effectively invest in multifamily real estate. So the first one might be called the deal finder or perhaps the hunter. This is the person that goes out into the marketplace, networks with brokers, property managers, other investors, gets kind of embedded in the community looking for opportunities to bring to his team. The hunter usually has a lot of energy, determined, risk tolerant. They're optimistic, they're forward looking, they see opportunities and kind of pursue them. So the hunter's kind of where it starts, have to find an opportunity before the other roles can kind of kick into place. The second role, I would say, I describe them as the analyst, kind of the data geek, or maybe you'd call it the brain. And this is the person that's going to analyze all the property data, rent roll, T12, market data, comp data, expense and income data to develop the 5-year pro forma from which the returns are generated so you can kind of evaluate what returns this property will bring to you. Uh, Very mental, very composed, very detail oriented. Unlike the hunter, the mind, the brain is often risk adverse. So they tend to be cautious, coolly calculating the numbers to see if it makes sense. Um, and then the third role I would say is the money, and it's kind of like what it sounds like. This is the person that's going to go out and raise the capital, talk to investors, handle investor relations. Again, like the hunter, generally pretty energetic, kind of a people person, likes to get out and network and talk real estate. And also they're willing to take some risks to generate opportunities and create good investments for folks. So it's a connection to the capital, and they're your primary interface with the investors once the deal's closed on an ongoing basis. So far we have the hunter who finds the deals, We have the brain or the mind who analyzes all the numbers, does the spreadsheets, really takes a close look at every penny on the operating statements. And then we have the person who's kind of primarily a capital raiser, has connections to people, often high income or high net worth individuals that have an interest in real estate and want to invest in real estate. And then the fourth skill set, the fourth role, and in my mind, it's probably the most important role, that we would call the operator, where other people have called it the hammer. So this is the person that actually runs the physical asset, deals with all aspects of operation, leasing, repairs, renovations, etc. This is such a critical role to be played. You can have the greatest deal in the world, but if you don't have a good operator, it's not going to do very well. Conversely, you could have kind of a mediocre deal, but if you have a great operator, someone who really knows how to get those units rented, get them turned quickly, minimize expenses, you can turn a mediocre deal into a very satisfactory deal. So those are the four roles: hunter, brain, money, and hammer. And so you might say, well, Arn, that all is great. How does that play out in the real world? So from my own experience, I moved into multifamily syndication about 4 years ago, spring of 2020. And my skill set was kind of both raising capital and finding deals. But the operations and the fine calculation of the spreadsheet wasn't really my expertise. I didn't feel comfortable doing it. And as I got into the space and looked at properties, I was hesitant to pull the trigger and actually buy an asset until I had one partner who was a great operator. And so over the years here in Greenville, I came to know my current partner now, Brian Walsh. He runs a property management company in Greenville, Progressive Properties of Greenville. And he started managing some of my rental properties, primarily single family, 2 to 4 units. And we built a relationship over 5 or 6 years. And as I decided to transition to multifamily, knowing I needed an operator before I could, in good conscience, ask investors to trust their capital with me, I had to have a good operator on the team. And so it took me about a year and a half of talking to Brian, looking at properties, to convince him to kind of come on board and do a multifamily deal with me. We finally found one, and that was probably spring of 2021. And he came on board. He loves multifamily. He comes from a single family background, still does a lot of single family property management, renovation, flips, but he really does love the multifamily. And the benefits of owning multifamily are perhaps a discussion for another day. But Brian coming on board, knowing that I had somebody who could do a great job running the actual asset, keeping things running, keeping costs down, income up, was critical. As soon as Brian came on board, within a year or two, we probably bought 3 or 4 properties, and things have been going great. As we acquired more properties, kind of the bookkeeping and accounting became more and more burdensome. And I primarily had the primary role of keeping track of all that. But it became apparent the workload was increasing beyond what we wanted to do or could do effectively. And over the last 3, 4 years, ran into another investor at the Best Ever conference, Dan Raleigh. He was a California expat like myself, but he moved to Cary, North Carolina, maybe about 4 years ago. Brian and I had Dan down to Greenville, showed him what we were doing. He invested in probably 4 or 5 of our deals, either as a joint partner or a limited partner. And his day job was being CFO for an internet startup company out of the Bay Area. So he loves looking at numbers. He loves doing spreadsheets, forecasting, budgeting, and so forth. And I kind of got the sense that he would like to move into a more active role. So over time, maybe about 18 months ago, he's now come on board. With the SPARK group. So it's now primarily 3 partners. I'm kind of the hunter. Brian's the operator or hammer. Dan is the brain or the mind or the analyst. We all raise capital, um, and it's a great fit. So we have all the bases covered in terms of what it takes to effectively run a multifamily business. So we're excited. I wanted to share this with you a little bit to kind of give you a sense of how do these teams actually come together? How do you find partners that fit? And the other thing I would say is you need to have partners that have kind of similar overall investing points of view. I've always been kind of a long-term buy and hold investor, and so trying to partner with somebody who wanted to flip a building every year probably wouldn't be the best match because our investing philosophies were different. Not saying one's right, one's wrong, one's better than another. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you partner, you should be in alignment with the big picture goals, the overall approach to investing. And in the case of the SPARK team, Dan, Brian, and I are all on board with kind of long term buy and hold, fixed rate debt, low leverage, good ample cash reserves. And so, big picture, we're in alignment. And then what I would say is within the team, each of us has dominion over a certain area, a certain aspect of the operation. So, for example, the operation, asset management, property management, renovation of the property, Brian is in charge of that. We trust him implicitly. He makes the decisions, gets things done, and that's his role, and he has responsibility there. We don't Monday morning quarterback him. We don't micromanage him. We agree on the big picture goal and then let him execute. Similarly, we let Dan handle the financial and accounting in a way that makes sense to him, in a way his professional career has taught him to do. That's his area of expertise. So we let him take the ball and run with it there. And then me, I'm kind of the networker, finding the deals, working with the brokers. And so I'm out there throwing stuff up against the wall, trying to find a deal. And if I find something I like, then I bring it to Brian and Dan. And sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't, sometimes they shoot holes in it. But then as we're analyzing a deal, we're equal partners. We all have input. We all provide our unique perspective on the deal. And basically, where we've come is if all 3 don't say yes, then the overall answer is no. So at this time, we need a unanimous consent to go acquire an asset. And over the years we've worked together, I've come to trust Brian and Dan's perspective and expertise. And so I feel very confident if I find a property that I like, that I want to pursue, and then after them reviewing the property and trying to see flaws in the argument to buy it, if they also agree they want to come on board and they think it's a good deal from their perspective, then I think we know we have a good opportunity we can bring to our investors. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how we put together the team. Hopefully, this has been helpful for you. Uh, I really like the team aspect of multifamily investing. It's one of the reasons I switched after 35 years of single family investing to multifamily because I love the partnerships. Uh, and it allows each member on the team to do what they do best, do what they enjoy the most. So for me, it's a perfect fit. I can do what I need to do, what I enjoy doing, and the other team members, Dan and Brian, do the same thing. So I encourage you to think about your own capabilities and skills. Consider where you may be weak or lacking. That should give you some guidance on who or what kind of skill set you need to find. And then just make sure you're kind of aligned on the big picture about the the fundamentals of investing, what's your approach, what you think about it. And then, of course, uh, the end game, kind of high level character and integrity are important on our team. We want to do business in an ethical manner. We consider our residents and tenants our most important customer. Certainly, our investors are very important. But if we take care of our residents, we're going to have a good property that performs. Our investors are going to be happy. So we approach everything from kind of a high character, ethical perspective and so the operation works. So, in any case, hopefully this is helpful. Again, my name is Arn Cenedella, SPARK Multifamily Investment Group. Uh, Glad to chat. Hopefully, you found this helpful and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.